If you're considering a home purchase soon, it's also time for you to start considering who you're going to use as your partners for that purchase. Of course, everyone knows that it's important to find a real estate agent who is someone you can trust, who is knowledgeable, and who's going to be working hard on your behalf. But another important partner is the lender that you're going to be using. I'm Pam Wandry with Columbine Mortgage, and this is our July timely topic where we're going to talk about the things you should look for when determining who to work with as your lender, because it can make a huge difference not only on the rate and products that you're offered and get, but the overall experience, which can make it a smooth and better experience to get closing on time. Let's take a look at some of those red flags that you want to pay attention to or be aware of when you're looking at different lenders. The first one is a rate quote without any closing costs or prices disclosed with that. If you're just getting a rate, that's something you want to be digging into. A lender that's going to show you the closing costs associated, the underwriting fee, if there's a discount fee or points associated with that rate, is critical. Having a transparent lender telling you this information up front is critical, because you don't want to be getting quoted a low rate and then find out later that there's thousands of dollars associated with getting that rate. The second one is a unicorn rate. A lot of times we see these rates quoted online. However, oftentimes they don't align with your specific scenario. That all depends on, credit score, down payment, those types of things. And so the quote that's being online, yes, it may be great and low, but it may not really align with your scenario, meaning that FHA 15-year super great rate is not something you're going to really want to go with because of the costs associated with and the high monthly payment. Most people don't usually do that, but so that's kind of one of the examples. Another one that we want to talk about is no closing costs. Those advertisements for free things with the loan, often there's a trade-off, and it's most often associated with the rate. So, things like no closing costs or free appraisal. Yes, you may be getting those and being paid by the lender. However, their trade-off is usually a slightly higher interest rate to get those free things. So you'll want a lender who's going to not only offer you this no closing cost option, but also maybe a lower rate option that has the closing costs or different buy down scenarios that you can look at, so you can truly decide what is the best fit and option for you and your loan scenario. Another thing we see a lot of the times is these pre-approvals online that are smooth, easy, super, you just put in the minimal information and then you get a pre-approval letter. That's great and easy and sounds, wonderful because it's so easy. However, it can be scary if you don't have somebody that's knowledgeable and understands underwriting guidelines, evaluating information. You want a lender who's going to be able to look at that information that you provided and make sure that it's going to be a smooth process and that you take care of any hiccups or challenges beforehand before getting under contract, so that there isn't a huge disappointment or something that blows up the process. So having somebody that does a thorough pre-qualification up front is also very important. Last one we want to talk about is communication. So if you're having a hard time getting the lender to reply to you, to answer your phone now when you're working through the pre-approval process, just imagine what it's going to be like when it's on an evening or a weekend and you're trying to submit an offer, or you're already under contract and you can't get a hold of the lender and these deadlines are looming. That's a huge thing to make sure that you have a lender who's going to pick up the phone, call you back timely, and is responsive to your communications. I hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions, obviously reach out. I'd love to talk more about any of these with you. Have a lovely rest of your month, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.